They say it never rains in Southern California, but it's pouring in the Bay.
Well, Spirit is saying that Princess Diana's childhood upbringing, before she was initiated into this family, I get the card for debauchery. And so overall, these cards are simply saying that Princess Diana, she was a freak hoe. And, I'm just going to put it like that, freak hoe. Freak hoe. Bounce your ass, make your knees touch your elbows. She actually had two dudes that she was dating prior to becoming a princess. One of these guys, now this guy's the Knight of Cups. She was definitely more into him than this guy that's the Knight of Wands. Now the Knight of Cups is this. I think this was a guy she was probably dating on and off. He had been pursuing her. I'm getting a white man with blonde hair. I'm also getting he was about 6 feet tall. This other guy was like a booty call type of thing. Maybe if she was in college, I don't know. But this guy was someone that was like, she met like 18, 19-ish. And, she had a little dick every now and then. Yeah. And the card for virtue is saying that she juggled both of these guys. She was incredibly serious about, having her freedom, doing her own thing. But I think that this guy that's the Knight of Cups, she liked the most. I'm hearing that this man, she liked him because he was just so nice and he saw things the way that she did. He was all sunshine and butterflies. Oh, there's a unicorn type of guy. Now, above this, the card for debauchery, the Queen of Discs, and the Chariot card is spilling more of her tea, because the card for debauchery is more so speaking about moral ineptitude. So there were some things about Princess Diana where, she was a little bit loose. I also hear, and when I'm saying loose, she was like, "Shawty, get loose." She would have smoked, she would have drank. She hadn't become a princess, she probably would have ended up 48 years old, working at a bar in Kentucky, and she would have been missing a tooth, and her breasts would have been saggy. She would have had a tattoo on her lower back, and she would have been known for getting into bar fights. But the Queen of Discs card is speaking about her being a self-made woman. So she was already going to be someone she's going to own her own business. If she wasn't going to be the bar fighting bitch, she was going to be the bar owning bitch. And the Chariot card is saying that, with the path that she was, these cards are essentially saying with the path that she was on, she was definitely headed towards marrying this particular guy. I think that if her destiny had not been interrupted by the initiation, she would have wanted to, just have been a business owner, have owned an alcoholic brewery or a club or something. And that's how I see it. She was kind of like a party girl, party chick. But again, as the Queen of Discs, I see her as this business-minded woman, very focused on her, money, about her money, and trying to serve the community. I feel like the princess initiation opened up this desire to make it a mission to become a humanitarian. It had already been buried deep down within her, but it was covered up by all the debauchery. This, the desire to smoke, and she drank. She on Patron and perp. She can't think. Okay, so but again, like I said, she was dealing with two guys prior to this. She was very passionate about this particular man. The Knight of Wands guy. The Knight of Wands guy was both of these guys were white men, but this Knight of Wands was someone that I feel like she met him around 18, 19-ish, and they had a sexual relationship, and they kept repeating the pattern all the way up until she met Whichever one of those princes she ended up getting married to. It's on my sheet of paper. I don't know anything. All right. So the next question I have is, what was the reason that she was selected as a princess? Well, the ancestors card came out, and then the moon and the oppression card. So there's like a glamour spell. There's a glamour spell around her energy, or an illusion spell around her energy. So what that means is this question has esoteric. It has esoteric. It's pretty much an esoteric answer, and it could risk. I guess, there's a lot at stake in this being revealed, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to say as much as I can, as much as possible. I'm going to try to see through the mirror that they have in my face, but it is a one-way mirror. So the ancestors card has come up, and so she was selected by whatever entities or deities that the European royal family selection committee uses. The moon card is saying that, astrologically, her birth date does have an importance, yes, but that the reason that she was selected is much more hidden than just a birth date. It's more about her bloodline and her. It's more about her bloodline, like who her parents were and what information is being carried in their genetic DNA. I feel that they needed her blood, not for some sort of sacrifice, but they needed her blood to complete it's almost like a research project. Once we get her blood, we found out a lot of information of what we need, and we can go from there. Now, the oppression card is saying that another reason that she was selected was because they felt that she was obedient. They had been eyeing her for a while, and they're like, we suspect that she'll follow by our rules and our structure, that she will want to come into our royal family and sit down and eat with us and be friends and kiki, and we can get her to just be a puppet. I mean, it's absolutely more than that, but we're talking about why she was selected. So the committee's sitting down, and they're like, they call down a spirit, whatever spirit they work with. Then it's the moon card, so they've examined her biological ancestry and her DNA. The oppression card is saying that they were trying to assess how compliant she would be in becoming a member of the royal family. Now I get the card for cruelty, the card for valor, the card for happiness. The card for cruelty is saying that, it's pretty obvious what it's saying, but they felt, again, that in her genetic DNA are magical substances that could help them to complete a spell and help them to complete a research project on their family ancestry. I get the card for valor and the card for happiness. And this is saying that beyond that, they thought she was a beautiful woman. They thought that she fit perfectly into the family. They were fond of her professionalism. They were fond of how hip she was. They felt that she was going to incrementally advance the family in terms of their public image, and she wasn't just a safe choice, but she was the best choice. The card for happiness is saying that once, it's like the beginning and the end. It's like there was verification from whatever spirit they called down or whatever psychic or magician they consulted about this. And it's just a consultation about, hey, how do you feel? What do y'all think of Princess Diana? Was she be compliant to our mission or was she not? And the card for happiness is saying that they were overall pleased with what they found out about her in that particular meeting. So my next question is, how did she meet Charles, and was she in love with Prince Charles? Okay, so the way that she met Prince Charles is, I mean, Prince Charles, this was not love at first sight on her end. Definitely was not love at first sight. I think that Prince Charles fell in love with her, decided on her, and she was kind of like, okay, whatever. She's like, she was really trying to secure the bag. Okay. The card for pleasure is saying that when she looked at him, she saw money. She saw dollar signs around him. She saw exposure. She just saw her life just completely change. She's like, feeling like I hit a lick. I get the card for disappointment and the card for change. So she knew that her lifestyle would have to dramatically change as a princess, and that made her hesitant about dealing with him. So how did she meet him? It was an encounter. She was selected by whatever selection committee that they had. They brought different photographs of women to Prince, what is his name? Prince Charles. Prince Charles looked at the photographs and said, hey, I like her. They set up the meeting like on this is supposed to be serendipitous type of thing. Like, oh, I just, was out and about and I just saw her fine self. She looked at him, saw money, and said, well, I guess I could do it if I really wanted to. Is this really what I want? Because again, she really enjoyed her freedom. So the card for fortune and the card for satisfaction, the card for fortune, the card for satisfaction, and the card for defeat are essentially saying, it's pretty obvious. She was playing Russian roulette, getting married into this family. She knew it. She knew that she wasn't really into Prince Charles. She looked at him. She's like, well, he's attractive. I could sleep with him a couple of times. But there was no magic there on her end. She was too psychic to not know that. Come on. I'm not saying that she was faking it when she met him, but I am saying that she saw a human being with a whole bunch of money, and she saw that she could, come up, and honestly, she did. So the card for satisfaction and the card for defeat are saying that, she won the battle, but she lost the war in the end. And I feel like she knew that going in. She's like, I think. No, she didn't. No, she knew going in that she wouldn't have as much autonomy as she wanted to. She knew that she would be satisfied with the material aspects of being a princess, but she also felt that she could defy. She's like, I'm going to be different. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that if I get married. And she said, if I choose to say yes, I'm going to create radical change. I'm not going to abide by all of their rules. And Prince Charles, I get from his energy that he's like a do boy. He's very loyal to the family. He doesn't question how they go about doing things. He's a yes man. And I feel that she picked that up from his energy, and she's like, wow, I get the yes man. I mean, well, he's a prince though. So, they met each other in this scripted, but it appears serendipitous moment. And these are the thoughts that were on her mind. Now we're going to talk about, was she in love with Prince Charles? Now that is a really good question. Was a woman like this in love with a do boy? Was a woman like this in love with a yes man? Okay, I get the card for sorrow, the card for the Prince of Dis, the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords always represents for me how you can have a moment of mental clarity or a moment of a moment of mental clarity or a moment of mental victory. The Prince of Discs is obviously Prince Charles, who has a lot of money, but it ain't his money really. It's inherited money, but he got a little bit of cheddar on the side. He comes in with his chariot and is being carried by, an albino moose that's been imported from the North Pole and is worth $3 billion. And he's expecting Princess Diana to jump on his chariot with him. The card for sorrow is saying that no, she never loved him. There was no point that she loved this man. No, and no. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Don't care what you say. No, she didn't love this man. And, she secured the bag like any real chick would. The art card, the High Priestess, and the card for strife are coming out. And this is saying to me that the art card in itself is saying to me that she knew, like she was two-faced about it. The face in the front says, well, I'm all down for this, and I can portray myself to the public as though I really care, because since she wasn't particularly emotional, she could shut down her feelings and act out whatever character she constructed in her head. And that's the art card. Her being an actress throughout the public representation of the marriage. Now the priestess card or the High Priestess card, this is talking about, and then the strife card, this is all talking about her not being in love with him because she felt, again, I said that she was a psychic intuitive, and she knew that she knew that she wasn't supposed to be with Prince Charles. He was not her empire partner. He was definitely a soulmate because their souls made it, but he was not her empire partner. And the card for strife is saying that, just from the get-go, I think I don't think there was really a point where she really liked him. I feel like I feel very much like for him, he may have been, attached to her, but for her, she definitely treated it like a game of cat and mouse. Like, you're definitely the cat and I'm the mouse. You will always chase me, and I don't ever want you to think that on my end, I'm more into you than you are into me. The card for strife is saying that just from the jump, I think they had problems. I think they had communication problems. But, Princess Diana was a nice girl, and she was not about to say or do anything that was going to keep her from a royal wedding. Okay, so the next questions that I have are, did she and Prince Charles have an open marriage? How did she feel about the Queen? And what was her relationship with the Queen like? The first question is, did they have an open marriage? Absolutely, they did. Okay. The card for love is saying that the card for love. Okay, I've got to read the entire arithmetic of these cards because it's not just one. So the arithmetic of these cards is saying that they did have an arranged. They had an open marriage. It was completely arranged, and it was a truth. You know, the truth card is saying, look,
Long time, but I still got love for you, and that won't ever change. San Jose, they say it never rains in Southern California, but it's pouring in the Bay. San Jose, girl, I know we tried to tell ourselves those lies.